What a day to be alive. Today is the 10th day of April, a Saturday, second Saturday of the month, a day Wellness have chosen to reach out to people on how to improve their overall wellness. We're glad today, in spite of all that is happening around us, in spite of the cures in the world, God has chosen to keep us alive. I want to apologize for starting very late. Dr. J had to see a patient this morning, and that's why we didn't start at 10 a.m. Apologies for the lateness. I want to promise that this wouldn't happen again. So I'm Adetitu Afolabi, the boss lady at Wellness Healthcare Group. Wellness over the years have been ensuring that we provide unrivaled and professional services to our clients and customers by offering quality pharmaceutical products and seamless access to care under our HMO plan. If you're not on the Wellness HMO cover, please subscribe to us today, because you can be sure of an organization that ensures that our people are taken care of. So today we're going to be talking about when the babies are not coming. Last month, Dr. Alabi, gave us some insight into fibroids and the causes of fibroids, which we all now know that is not nobody knows the causes. We also know that fibroid is not hereditary. We know fibroid is not cancerous. We know that fibroid is a growth in the lining of the womb, and it can be treated. Nobody needs to go through the suffering. If you have fibroids, it can be treated. There are drug options, there are surgical options for you to undergo to make sure that you're fine. We were also taught about the symptoms and signs, and when there are red flags that we should get help on time. The fact that you have fibroids does not mean you wouldn't be pregnant. With fibroids, you can still get pregnant. And the pregnant, he made one funny assertions that the fibroids, the fibrous tumor and growth and the baby can exist together like neighbors, like uncles and aunties, and one will have to leave the other, or you ensure that the two leaves eventually the womb. So we are grateful for another time to go through to listen to another doctor on when the babies are not coming. It's statistics have shown that about 1 in every 7 couple will go through the waiting period of when babies will be coming or babies will not be coming. And we all also are aware of Banky W and Adeswa's testimony in this 1 week on how they had to wait on the trials and the travail they had to go through, and eventually God came through for them. We're going to also be asking the doctors today if the issue of pregnancy, if the mystery is about God or is about science, is about just science. We're going to be asking her in the course of today. Today we're not alone. There is a special group of people that have chosen to partner with us. Everybody needs to hear information about health, and we're also including this set of people with special abilities. They're also part of us. Mr. Joshua is there, doing all the interpretation. And at the end of this webinar, also we'll make sure that we transcribe what we have so that the reach can be more. If you're not part of our last month's webinar, I would like you to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I would like you to go and watch it. It was very insightful and educative. You need to listen to it. You need to be a part of it. So today we're going to be talking about when the babies are not coming, and I'm not going to do this alone. Joshua is an interpreter. He's done this all his life, helping to ensure that people are included. I spoke with him for over an hour, and I was really impressed. I was really impressed for what he does with this community. I want to say thank you to Mr. Kesley and Mr. Alabitu for bringing people on board this YouTube live and this webinar so that they are part of this. So Dr. J is going to be with us. Dr. J is a medical doctor. She's an obstetrician and gynecologist. She finished from Unilag, and she had 10 years experience with the Lagos University Teaching Hospital as a gynecologist. She's passionate about women conceiving. She's passionate about couples bringing forth. She's passionate about childbearing and all related issues around childbearing. She has testimonies of helping women and helping families, conceive, and that is one of the reasons why she also has a fertility blog. She has a fertility blog where she talks mainly on fertility, what you know about fertility, the factors affecting fertility and all that, and some of those questions and those things that she has treated we will also ask her today. She has authored a book on fertility, on child and the life after, and I know that we can visit our blog, we can visit our page. Her name is Dr. Jumoke Oguro. She's popularly known as Dr. J. She might even introduce herself as Dr. J when you meet her. I think they've called her Dr. J so much that she forgets sometimes that she's Dr. Jumoke. So she might even tell you that she's Dr. J when you ask for her name. So thank you, Dr. J. Thank you for honoring this invite. And so without wasting too much time, if you're already live, please send the link to your friends and family. Send the link to them so that they can also be a part of this. And there is also opportunity for us to ask questions. Please go to the chat button, ask your questions. We're here to make sure that all your questions are answered. Dr. J, are you ready for us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me? Thank you.
Yes, we can.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for the invite. So delighted to be here. Thank you to well done for the good work. Knowledge is power. So what you're doing each month, bringing different doctors to enlighten the public, is highly commendable. Well done.
So, Dr. J, there's research.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can hear you, although we are having some. It wasn't clear at a point, but we can hear you now.
All right. Okay.
Okay. So
go ahead. You were saying.
We're told that 1 in every 7 couple will have some issues around bringing forth, around fertility, around conception. So we want to know, what are the causes of primary infertility? Shouldn't a woman get pregnant when she wants it?
All right. So thank you for that. Well, so you've asked me 2 questions. Okay. So let's start. Get pregnant when she wants to. Yes. It's nice for, we talk about the basic rights of anybody, that you should have a right to decide when you want to get pregnant. Okay. That's one of the fundamental human rights, that a woman should be able to decide when she wants to get pregnant. However, for the woman, unlike the men, we have a biological clock. Okay, and that's why people say the woman's biological clock is ticking. All right. So sometimes when we decide, because of other things, to kind of delay conception, it may backfire. Okay, because for a woman, the age is very, very, very important, extremely important. Unlike men, and the reason is just simple. Men keep producing sperm, so they keep producing new sets of sperms every 74 days. The woman is not like that. When a female child is in her mother's womb, she has about 6 to 7 million egg-containing follicles. When she's born, she has 1 to 2 million egg-containing follicles. That means before she even starts life, the egg-containing follicles die off. And by the time she attains puberty, when she's ready when she has the ability to start reproducing, she has about 300,000 egg-containing follicles left. Okay, that's when she's in her teens. And so as she gets older, the egg-containing follicles keep dying off. And at the end of the day, by the time she is like 35, there's actually a sharp decline in reproduction. So yes, a woman, we all have rights to decide when we want to conceive at any time. But for a woman, you must always have that at the back of your mind, that when you delay, there are consequences for delay. And if you want to delay, you must also try to sort out, to try and prevent those consequences if possible. Now, to different causes of infertility. Usually we say a couple is infertile, or when they have tried to conceive, that means trying to get pregnant after 1 year of trying, you say there is infertility. All right. And the reason why we put 1 year, there's a reason, because we know that the more frequent you have intercourse, the more frequent you try, the higher the chances of conceiving. So for instance, if we have 5 couples, okay, and we have 5 couples, everything perfectly normal, 1 out of the 5 will get pregnant the first month of trying. So that means 20% will get pregnant the first month of trying. But we know that we know that after 3 months of trying, you have over 50% of the couples will get pregnant. And after 12 months of trying, about 92% of the couples will get pregnant. So the remaining 8% not pregnant are the ones who start investigating. So usually we say that it is until 1 year of trying to get pregnant as a couple and nothing is happening that you can seek help. That is the general statement. But however, there are clauses to it. When we say 1 year of trying, that means you are cohabiting together, you are living. These days, because of work, career, we find out that sometimes the couple, they're not staying together. So they may come after 1 year and tell you that they are trying to conceive, but then they're not even having frequent intercourse. Maybe they will tell you that, okay, after the 12 months that we've been trying, where you just stayed together for 2 months, that's not enough. Remember what I told you, after 3 months, about 50% staying together, everything okay, will conceive. And after 12 months, about 92% will conceive. So they've not even had the frequency of having sex is not even high enough to say, is there something really wrong? Okay, I believe you can hear me. And
We
also,
can.
okay, so apart from that, we'll still and talk more about all that because there are clauses to it. For instance, if a woman knows that, oh, I have a problem with ovulation, my periods are not regular, and she gets married, she's not the sort of person to sit down and say, oh, they said it is after 1 year of trying. You should seek help to say, okay, doctor, you see, I know that I don't have regular periods. Okay, now I'm married. I can sense that because of my irregular periods, if I'm not menstruating every month, I may not. That means menstruation is a sign that you are ovulating, you are releasing eggs every month. And so if you are not menstruating every month, it could just say that you are not releasing eggs every month. And if you are not releasing eggs every month and you're having intercourse, there's nothing for the sperm to fertilize. Okay, so such a woman can seek help. Or for instance, a man says, oh, he has a history of undescended testes. That, oh, doctor, you see, what happened was my mother told me when I was young that my testis was not in the right place when I was young. So they discovered it when I was 3 years old and they did an operation for me. Okay, because it took a while before they did the operation, the man may have challenges with sperm production. Such a person should not sit down and say, oh, it is 1 year. So what I'm just trying to say is, in essence, once you note that there is a problem, okay, you don't have to wait for 1 year. However, when you are ignorant or you are not aware there is a problem, and after 1 year of cohabiting or trying having regular intercourse with your husband or your partner, you are not getting pregnant, then you should seek help. And usually when we talk about infertility, we say primary or secondary. Primary infertility is that you have never gotten pregnant at all. Secondary infertility is that you have gotten pregnant regardless of whether it ended up in a miscarriage, in a live birth, or it was an abortion, you have gotten pregnant. Okay, so basically the causes of infertility are the same, whether we have primary or secondary. So generally speaking, it could be who are the two people involved, the male and the female. Okay, for conception to take place, you need the male and the female. You need sperms, you need the woman to release the egg. You need because the sperm and the egg meet in the fallopian tube, you need the fallopian tube to be open. And because the uterine cavity, the womb, okay, the cavity of the womb is where the baby implants, okay, and starts growing. You all need all those areas. So when you have issues with any of these that I've described, then it can cause a delay. For instance, if a woman has problems with sperm production, either the sperm count is very low or the sperms are not moving well, if the movement of the sperm we call motility, or the sperms, yes, it has sperms, but the sperms are don't look normal. They all look abnormal. An abnormal sperm may not be able to fertilize an egg. So when we have problems with the sperm parameters, which we'll say male factor, then that can cause a delay in conception because the sperms may not be good enough to fertilize the eggs. Also, if, for instance, when we're doing sex, the act of sex, there is a whole process. The man must have an erection. When the man has an erectile dysfunction as a result of maybe medical complications like diabetes, or he has done previous surgeries before that, certain nerves have been damaged, then he may not have an erection. So if he doesn't have an erection, how does he deposit the sperm in the vagina without assistance? So that can also cause a delay. So these are examples of male factors, certain things that can cause in men that can cause delay in conception. Sometimes it could be genetics, okay? The man has some genetic abnormalities, okay? He has he has problems with his genetic makeup, such that the abnormalities in the genetic makeup affects the production of sperms. When that happens, if the sperms are, if he's giving us very low sperm concentration or no sperm in the semen at all, then there will be problems with conception. Okay, these are some of the, the list is ended. So let's endless rather. So let me go to the female. Now for the female, we've talked about it. Number one, she may not be ovulating. There are things that can make a woman not ovulate. She's not releasing eggs. So if she's not releasing eggs, then she can, there's nothing for the sperms to fertilize, even if they're having regular intercourse. A common cause of that is polycystic ovarian syndrome, where there's actually an imbalance in the hormones. And as a result of this hormonal imbalance, the woman does not ovulate all the time. She does not release the egg all the time. So she may have irregular periods. And as a result of that, that can cause a problem with conception. Also, if she has issues, conditions like endometriosis. Endometriosis is when you have the lining of the womb, the cells lining the cavity of the womb outside the womb, outside the cavity of the womb. And we know that this condition can also affect the quality of eggs, okay? And it can also affect the relationship of the tube and the ovary, such that it can cause adhesion, scarring, and as a result of the scarring, it can affect fertility. All right. Sometimes, as a result of previous infection that the woman had, she had sexually transmitted diseases that was poorly treated, or she did not know about. She may have had gonorrhea or chlamydia infection. The thing about these two infections is that for the women, you don't have symptoms, so the woman is not aware. The woman is not aware. The woman is not aware that she has the infection, and as a result, is the tube. So as a result of that, you have blockage of the tube. And when you have blockage of both tubes, what happens is that the sperm and the eggs cannot meet. Okay. Also, in the cavity of the womb where the baby should be, you have things like fibroids or polyps that can also affect fertility. Okay. Also, the age of the woman, because we now call it age-related infertility, because we know that as a woman gets older, her fertility starts declining, especially after the age of 35. Okay, so it is very, very, very important. It's an important cause of infertility because we call it age-related. So you see, we have women, about just 5% of the women that are in their 40s can get pregnant unassisted. Okay, so these are a few causes of infertility, because I'm also weary of the time. So we don't want to use all our time to discuss all the causes of infertility. So let me stop right now, because there are so many that I've not mentioned, but these are the common causes of infertility.
Thank you, Dr. J. Thank you, Dr. J. Thank you for letting us know that that both men and women can actually have fertility issues. You know, in in the society, most times when the babies are not coming, it's easier to concentrate on the woman. It's easier to ask the woman all the questions. It's easier to think that it's the woman that is not doing enough and to bring in forth. So you've also opened our eyes to the fact that both primary and secondary infertility can actually be caused by the same thing. And the list are endless, from genetic abnormalities in the male or the male factor, not being able to have erectile dysfunction, the sperm parameters in the sperm produced is not quality enough to fertilize the womb, and for the woman too. And one thing that you said that I want every woman hearing this to pay attention to, and mothers and have to talk to our daughters, when people have STDs and are not taken care of, it's, you know, the fact that you don't even have symptoms make it worse. And you know, this could actually be something that affects the woman maybe when she wants to conceive. And the fact that, you know, they always, when people, when they make fun of the fact that the woman's time is ticking. Now you've proven to us scientifically too that women should do whatever they want to do before the age of 35, and after 35 they can now gamble. That before 35 the probability of getting pregnant it's very high, and after 35 it might be tough. And from 40 years and above, a woman might need to be assisted to get pregnant. This is not the same for men. And so everybody hearing this knows that now. You also make mention of the fact that primary fertility and secondary fertility. Primary fertility is when someone has not been able to conceive at all. And secondary fertility, you know, people always think secondary fertility is when you've had a baby before, whether you bring forth the baby, the fact that you've been pregnant before and you're not able to get pregnant again, that makes you have a secondary fertility. So Dr. J, there's some set of people that go to the hospital and after going through all the tests and everything that you might think of that could delay pregnancy or delay the babies from coming, the doctors agree that there is no problem. So what is the cause of unexplained infertility? You know, they tell people that it's unexplained infertility. Where do we put such people? The man has been tested, the woman has been tested, they do not have history of sicknesses, no history of diseases, everything is fine, the quality of the sperm is okay, the woman, the fallopian tube is open, there is no fibroid cells, there is no fibroid growth, everything is fine. So what is the cause of unexplained infertility?
Okay, so we call it unexplained infertility, and it affects, when we talk about, it accounts to it accounts for about 10% of the infertile couple. 10% of the infertile couple population will have, what we call in unexplained infertility. However, unexplained infertility is just a big name we give to it, because usually the basic fertility workup just checks for basic things. All right. So usually when a couple, they have a delay in conceiving, we have basic tests that we do. What are the tests? The first thing is that we analyze this. We do semen analysis, where we want to check the husband's sperm. We look for the husband's count. We look for the movement of the sperm, that is the movement satisfactory, and we look for how the sperm look, what they look like. That's how many sperms look normal, how many sperms look abnormal, and what the sperm count is. So when everything is okay, we say, when we look at it, the count concentration or the sperm count is okay. The motility, the way they move, they are okay, 50%. The morphology is okay. We say, okay, there's no problem. Your sperm looks okay. For the woman, what else do we check? We check for the tubes. Either we tell her to do an HSG, or she does maybe laparoscopy and dye test to check the tubes. Okay. And other ways of we can order for other tests just to assess whether the tubes are open. And when we carry out those tests, we say the tubes are open. And the other one is to check for the hormones, to say, okay, madam, your hormones show that you are ovulating. Those are the basic tests we do. All right. So when we do these basic tests and they are okay, we'll call it unexplained infertility. However, some unexplained infertility with further testing can actually be explained, because now there are some unexplained infertility that can actually be explained, but there are some that, you with all your garments of tests, you cannot find anything wrong. So let me go ahead for this sperm, for instance. If the man, we do these counts, we do everything, there is something we also call DNA fragmentation, which this kind of test is not routinely done. It's usually done by the fertility specialists or fertility centers. Okay, we have known that when we do assess the sperm and the DNA fragmentation is high, it actually can affect conception. It can increase the rate of miscarriages. Okay, even it can affect the results of assisted conception techniques like IUI or even IVF if the DNA fragmentation of the sperms is high. That is known for sure. But these are not routine tests we carry out. So when they further visit the facility specialists and they do things like DNA fragmentation, they may pick it up and say, yeah, this is the cause. So you can explain it. Other things, for instance, hormonal issues like an underreactive thyroid. Okay, if a woman having issues with the thyroid can affect fertility. So if you do a thyroid function test, that can reveal that, oh, there is a problem. So it's not unexplained. Also, age, for instance, okay, you do all the tests, oh, madam, the woman is 44 or 45 or 46. She does the normal test, it shows that she's ovulating. She checks her tube, it shows that the tubes are open, patent, and then the husband's sperm is checked. But you know that at 46, the quality of the eggs is not going to be very good. So that's good. So you can explain it. So it is not unexplained, but with further testing, you can actually explain the unexplained infertility. We also know now there is the immunological part. For some women, for some reason, they have what we call natural killer cells. And these natural killer cells just overreact such that they attack any form of conception. All right. And there is a special way of treating such women. Okay. This is the immunological part of conception that is not so popular. So sometimes with a visit to the fertility specialist, the so-called unexplained can be explained. And at other times, sometimes you actually cannot explain why the woman is not conceiving. So when you say unexplained infertility, is because we have done the basic test, checking for semen, checking for egg, whether the woman is ovulating, and checking her tubes. Okay, and when these things are okay, we say they are unexplained. But again, to the carrying or performing tests, there is no end. When you now start probing further, you may be able to explain some of the unexplained infertility. Let me stop here because I can go on and on.
Thank you, Dr. J. Thank you, Dr. J. Okay, I forgot to mention the fact that you said that people shouldn't get worried until after a year, especially if they know that they don't have a problem with ovulation or have problems with surgeries or some other things that might delay them. We who know our bodies. But if there's nothing wrong and you're coming from the place of ignorance, couples shouldn't be so worried within 1 year. They should just say that they should just see it as a moment that will come. And for unexplained infertility, so what you've been able to highlight is the fact that if people were told that they are okay because of the basic tests that they've done, they should seek to do further tests that could bring the unexplained infertility, that could give explanation to the unexplained infertility, meaning that further tests such as semen analysis can help, and there's some processes such as DNA fragmentation that can be.
Semen analysis is the basic one.
It's basic one.
Yes, well, with the semen analysis, there are other things that you can assess. There are other assessments you can make with the sperms. You understand?
Like the DNA fragmentation test and all that. Yes, so we move from the basic to the non-basic, and so for everyone the doctors might have said you're okay, one can actually seek to probe further, especially if age is on the side of the woman. one can actually choose to probe further. I really don't like that fact that the cells, the egg is not very nice after 40 years. It's sometimes make me feel bad when you produce eggs all the time and
Okay,
it's useless.
can I just say something now? Okay, so there is now a concept, because there is now a concept we call fertility preservation,
Okay.
which actually started because you had some children, for instance, or young adults that come with cancers. Okay, and you know that some of these cancer drugs can actually can affect fertility. Okay, it can affect the ovaries, it can affect the testes, and so affects the function of both the ovaries and testes when you use them. So it started with such patients, such that you now tell them to go for fertility preservation, where the man, if it's a male, the male can freeze his sperms, keep his sperms, okay, for later before he undergoes the cancer treatments, so that it doesn't damage his testes. And the woman can also now keep her eggs, okay. She can do what we call egg freezing, where she will keep her eggs. And sometimes some people take the ovarian tissue and preserve it, such that when she's now ready to and go for the cancer treatment, when she's now ready, she can now fall back on what she has kept. Okay, so we call it fertility preservation. So it actually started with the concept actually started with cancer patients, young patients having cancer that are not yet married. They're pretty young, maybe they're teenagers or they're in their early 20s, but they're not married, and yet they want to conserve their fertility. So right now, when we have such patients, people counsel them for fertility preservation. That, oh, this option is available, rather than give them the chemotherapy and then it damages. And when they are ready to settle down, they're saying, oh, this thing has affected your sperm, it has affected your ovaries, da. So what we now, because of that, okay, as time has now progressed, they've extended that grace also to women, that maybe that, oh, that your biological clock is ticking, and I've not gotten somebody, the right partner I really want to settle down with. Then you can do what you call egg freezing.
Wow.
Okay, where you
Wow.
will keep your eggs,
Wow.
and at a later date, when you finally settle down, you can now settle down at 40, 41.
Thank,
You can
thank
now
you,
fall
Dr. J,
back
for
on
that.
those eggs,
Thank you.
because this is an awareness program for people to know in Nigeria.
This is good news. This is good news. This is good news. The fact that a woman can preserve her egg. It's good news. The fact that a woman can preserve her eggs and a man can also preserve the sperm. It's good news. I like what technology can do to the world. I hope this procedure is not so pricey, but it's good to have options. It's good to have options. It's good to know that one can do something in anticipation of what could happen in the future. I love this, and I know that everybody hearing us also, I love the fact that we have options. A woman has options. Whether the time is ticking, technology has made it us to realize now that no matter how fast the world is rolling, your fertility can actually be preserved. Thank you, Dr. J, for that information. Dr. J, we from the audience, where the audience wants you to tell us if there are lifestyle habits, if there are food or vegetables or lifestyle habits that everyone willing to conceive or couples that wants to have babies should begin to live with, so that they can have smooth conception. Are there lifestyle habits you want to recommend for new couples?
All right.
Or couples going through advantageous?
Basically, I would just suggest that everybody should maintain a healthy lifestyle. Healthy lifestyle meaning regular exercise, because all these things will, at the end of the day, help us all. Healthy, regular exercise and eating healthy, a balanced diet where you have all the classes of food, the carbohydrates, the protein, the fats and oil, the minerals and vitamins are there. However, there are lifestyles that are not healthy, okay? For instance, that we pick up. okay, as a result of habits. For instance, smoking. Smoking affects semen production. Smoking also affects the woman's fertility. It's been known, both male and female. Okay, so smoking is one habit when you're trying to get pregnant. If you are into it, you should try and stop, because we know that smoking actually affects female's fertility, and it also affects, it tends to decrease the ovarian reserve faster. So a woman that smokes should know. And then the man that smokes too, if you're a chain smoker, it can also affect fertility. And we found out even that modification of your lifestyle can improve things. Also taking recreational drugs like marijuana and co can also affect fertility. So these are habits. Excessive alcohol. Taking alcohol lightly has not been shown to affect it, but affected taking heavy drinkers, like taking 10 to 14 bottles a week, for instance, can actually affect your fertility, can affect the sperm production. And also for the female, even when she gets pregnant, it can affect the fetus. Okay, so our lifestyle, very, 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 very important. Okay, very, very extremely important. Also, reducing caffeinated beverages also will help, generally speaking. Reducing caffeinated beverages will all generally help. Also, for maybe skincare, women particular about, don't use products that contain hormones like estrogen and progesterone. That should be avoided when you're trying to get pregnant. Also drugs, well, anabolic steroids. Sometimes people that are into bodybuilding, men that are into bodybuilding, you like all the muscles and everything, they go and take steroids. That can also affect semen production. Okay, so it's very, very important for us to be aware that our lifestyle too can affect. Avoid stress, okay? Avoid stress, okay? And then for men, we also advise, don't sit for too long in a particular place. Okay, if your work requires you sitting for very long hours, after 2 hours, you can just take a walk, because we know that, the scrotal sac where the testis is outside, and because it's meant to be at a particular temperature, it's not, when you sit for too long, it acquires the body temperature, and that can also affect production of sperms.
Thank you, Dr. J. This is beautiful. So what we eat and how we do our things affect us. Exercises are important. Reducing our caffeinated drinks, just like every other wellness advice on our lifestyle modification, it works. And you said something now. Men trying to conceive should not sit in a position for too long because of the temperature of the scrotal sac. I know that the men are hearing this. Nobody knows that that really affects that much. Dr. J,
yes,
how long can egg and sperm be preserved? You talked about fertility preservation. How long? How many years?
Oh, for years.
How many years can we preserve this? Oh,
as long as you say, oh, this is what I want, until you say, I don't want it again. I don't want you to keep my sperms for me. I'm okay. I've had want to donate it to other people. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so I said you can keep the egg or sperm for as long as you
Okay, so we can keep the egg and the
keep it
sperm
for as long as you can. 10 years, 15 years.
Wow.
Yes,
wow.
yes.
Wow. Okay.
That's a whole lot. That's another topic altogether. Maybe some other time we can do that.
So eggs and sperm can be kept for a lifetime. If anybody
15
wants
years,
to.
yes.
Okay, thank you, Dr. J. Okay, there's another question here that are there sex positions or sex places that guarantees conception? Or are there sex positions or locations for sex that guarantees conception?
All right, so there is no sex position medically that I'm aware of that guarantees that, when you do this, take this kind of position, it will make you conceive. I don't know whether you understand. It will make you conceive faster, because we are aware of so-called people that, somebody that is a virgin the man ejaculated, the fact that the man ejaculated in on her around the pelvic area, she got pregnant. So what you need is just a rascally sperm moving and goes through the vagina into the tubes, and the woman is ovulating and pregnancy can happen. But any one can get pregnant in any, have what we call retroverted, when the uterus is bent to the back. Usually the uterus, the womb is bent forwards. Okay, it's bent forwards, but for some people, a small percentage of people is bent backwards. So we call it retroverted uterus. Okay, and so as a result of that, sometimes we tell them that they can have intercourse with like the knee chest position, where all fours, she's on her knees and everything, and the man comes from behind. So, but there is really no medically proven one that, oh, when you do it this way, this is how you can conceive.
Okay, so are you also saying that there are no sex positions that guarantees the sex of the child, whether you have
Certainly
a female or
not.
male?
No. There is
So
no sex
so those are just myths, and people just
They're
fabricate
just
stories.
myths. They're just myths. There's no particular sex position that can guarantee
Okay.
a new child.
So for the person asking the tips for making a female child, I think this person too must have been told all kinds of sex
All right.
positions
So
that could guarantee.
no, there is no sex position. However, theoretically speaking, okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, ma.
Okay, theoretically speaking, what happens is that we know that when we talk about the X and Y sperms, the X sperms are fast. Okay, no, sorry, the Y sperms are very, very fast. The X sperms are slow and steady, means the race. You know, women are quite patient and all that. They are patient, accommodating, tolerating, and so are the X sperms that is contributed. Because the female will always give X. So the man will either give X or Y. But theoretically speaking, we know that the X sperm is slow and the Y sperm boom, 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 moves very, very fast. So because of that, as a result, some people will say when you are trying for a particular gender, it's better to have intercourse on the day of ovulation. Now, the day of ovulation is actually not known. Okay, we know that if you have a 28-day cycle, for instance, your day of ovulation is 14 days. Okay, if you have a 30-day cycle, you ovulate around 16 days. Okay,
We need volume from you, because when it
you can't
comes
hear
to
me.
counting the days of ovulation, a lot of people
Okay.
really want to know about this.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say that, for instance, if you have a 25-day cycle, if you have a 28-day cycle, okay, your time of ovulation is on day 14. Okay, just count. If you have a 28-day cycle, just subtract 28 minus 14, it gives you 14. So that is the time of ovulation. If your time of if you have a 30-day cycle, for instance, you will ovulate. Okay, that is 30 minus 14, that's around day 16. However, we don't know the exact time of ovulation. That's the truth. So we just know that, okay, around the time of ovulation, let's just leave 3 days before, 3 days after. So you can start ovulating. If, for instance, you're a 30-day cycle person, you can start trying from day 13. The day one of your period is the first day of the menses. Day one is the first day of your menses, not the day you end, but the day you start. So day one is the first day of your menses, and so you calculate it that way. So day one, so you can start trying. If you're trying, you can start trying from day 13 to say all the way to day 19. If you have a 28-day cycle, for instance, you can start trying, let's say from day 11 to day 17 or 18. So what they say is that, okay, if you are trying for the male, because the sperm is very, very fast, if you do it around on that day of supposed ovulation, you know that because the first sperm to get to the eggs would be the Y sperm, okay, and the So if you're trying for female, then maybe you should do it after you have ovulated, because the sperm is very, very slow, or you can do it a few days before ovulation, because the X sperm would have gone, and then it's just the Y one coming over. But all these things are theoretical and they have not been proven to work. However, there are ways of gender selection that can be done scientifically, and those give a better yield and better results. There are two ways. Either you do what we call PGD, which is called pre-implantation genetic testing, and this can only be done when you do IVF, in vitro fertilization, where embryos generated from the male, from the combination after fertilization, the embryos generated, you take a sample of the embryo, all right, and test it. Test for the genetic, the makeup, the chromosome. So if it is XX or XY. So if you are looking for a male child, you put the XY, you transfer the XY back into the woman's womb. And if you are looking for a female child, you transfer the XX into the woman's womb. That is one way of sex selection, which produces results. The other way is what we call the microsort. Okay, with the microsort, what you do is that, of course, you visit a fertility center, and then the husband produces sperm, and then we separate the X and Y sperms. Okay, so if you're looking for a male, it is the Y sperms that will be used, and if you're looking for a female, it will be the X sperm that will be used. Okay, the advantage of the microsort is that you can also use IUI, that's intrauterine insemination, for that purpose, or you do IVF if so wish, but with the PGD it has to be IVF. So those are the two scientific proven ways of gender selection. All the other ones are just what's it called? They are just
They're
theoretical.
just theoretical. Thank you, Dr. J.
And above
Thank
all,
you.
of course, you know that there's nothing in this life is 100%. So with the microsort, for instance, if you're sorting for male, it is 83% chance. They have an 83% chance of having the male child, and a 92% chance of having
a female child.
Yeah, so there's still not, it's not 100%, but it gives a higher guarantee than the swim up stuff that we do, ovulation stuff. And above all, you can always pray and tell God the gender you so desire.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. J. Thank you for clarifying the fact that some of those things that we know about calculating ovulation and all that are just theoretical. You also made mention of the fact that nobody knows the day of ovulation, so we only have all kinds of facts and guessing to work with. But there are scientific.
So what we just have is that, yeah. So what we know is the around ovulation time.
Around ovulation time. So nobody knows the day of ovulation.
Yes, but what we know is that, we know the woman's fertile period. That when she meets around this time, she's likely to get pregnant.
Is that one of the reasons why the chances are slim sometimes for a woman getting pregnant, because nobody knows that ovulation day?
Well, not really. See, when we come, all the factors must be understand what I mean. Everything must be working together, and they must be in sync to get it right. Okay, so it's not ovulation is just
Dr. J, we're not hearing you. The network.
All having level balance, the review must be receptive at that time. So everything must happen at. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, so what I'm trying to say, it's multifactorial. So there are a combination of, or a lot of things must be happening at the right time of conception to take place. Ovulation is just part of
it. Okay, thank you, Dr. J. So it's conception is beyond ovulation. So that's why it's not just about the woman.
So when the fertile period, yes, it's beyond that. Yes.
Dr. J, can you go over it? We
Can I
lost
go
you,
over what?
Dr. J. Yes, we lost you.
Can I go over? Okay, you said you wanted me to go over what?
The what you just said now about ovulation.
Okay. So what I'm trying to say is that, ovulation, what we know is that, okay, there is the ovulation fertile period. Everything depends on, for instance, your cycle length. That's why it's good to know your cycle length. Your cycle length is usually from the first day of your period to the next day, to the next time of your period. Okay, the first day you started menstruating to the first day your cycle, aware of her cycle length, knowledge of when you, for instance. Okay, so if when a woman has a 28-day cycle, her ovulation time will be around day 14. But because we don't know the exact time of ovulation, we leave room to say 3 days before, 3 days after. So you start trying from your day 11 to your day 17. If her cycle length, for instance, is 30, then her ovulation period will be around day 16. So she can start trying from around day 12 to day 18, day 18, 19. So that is her fertile period, and that is when she should have intercourse the most if she's trying to conceive.
Okay, Dr. J, please can you tell us some of some medications that people should take with caution if they're trying to get pregnant?
All right, so whilst we were talking, I've already mentioned a few though. We've talked about smoking, well, and then we've talked about alcohol, okay. Then other things like, for instance, the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs that we use when we have pain and all, okay. These medications sometimes can affect ovulation, so it's very, very important that maybe when you are trying, you should avoid, if necessary, non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, because what they do is that sometimes they prevent the egg from popping out. They prevent the eggs from being released, okay? We've also mentioned things like avoiding skincare products that have estrogen or progesterone inside. And sometimes some of these herbal remedies that we use for various things too can affect, because some of these herbal remedies, we do not know what they contain. And some of them can contain estrogen or progesterone, which can affect things. Also, medications that we use for the treatment of some of these, for some psychiatric conditions and depression can also affect conception, because some of them actually affect, increase a particular hormone that we call prolactin, and prolactin is known to affect ovulation when it is high. All right. Certain antibiotics too can affect sperm production. Things like nitrofurantoin, okay, can affect sperm production. So we need to be very careful what we take. Also ketoconazole, which is an antifungal. The cream does not seem to affect it, but when the tablet is taken by the male, it may affect sperm production. Things like cimetidine, nifedipine, okay, that we use, nifedipine is used as an antihypertensive. Yes, and cimetidine is used for ulcer. All these ones are also known to affect sperm production. We also know that cancer treatments too can definitely affect fertility. So if you are going for cancer treatment and you know that you have not completed your family, it's good to consider fertility preservation, because some of these medications can actually affect fertility.
Okay, thank you, Dr. J. So there are so many medications that can actually affect people from getting pregnant. Um, alcohol and smoking has been identified. For a woman getting pregnant, trying to get pregnant, she should also be careful when she's taking pain relievers, especially the NSAIDs. She should be careful when taking them. And when you're taking creams or taking herbal medication that has estrogens, and one has to be careful as well, because they also could affect conception. We also know that antidepressants and some antibiotics can also affect conception. So what you take can actually make a lot of mess. So we need to be careful, and we also need to also tell our doctors when they are recommending medications to us what we intend. If you intend to get pregnant or you intend to conceive, you need to tell them that, oh, I intend having a baby, and therefore will this work for me? Will there be contraindication? Will this affect the rate of conception, so that the doctor can give alternative? A lot of people have ulcer these days, so before taking that anti-ulcer medication, be sure that it's not going to affect conception. Thank you, Dr. J. I also want to ask a question. What is pseudo pregnancy? I don't know whether it's because someone is waiting for babies and the babies are not coming. Then all of a sudden you do not see your period. You begin to have symptoms of pregnancy. The stomach start getting big, and after 3 months or 5 months, realize that there is no baby. And we have some people going around for over 2 years, because they've been to some prophets and all those people saying the baby is in there. So going around for 2 years with a bulgy tummy, we're not even sure if it is fibroids, but the fact that the person is not menstruating, the person is not seeing his period, and the person is having some symptoms that look like pregnancy and all that, people believe they are pregnant. So what's a pseudo pregnancy?
So basically, pseudo pregnancy is also called false pregnancy. Okay, and medically we say pseudocyesis. Okay, so it is actually a condition whereby the woman has all, majority, if not all, the symptoms of pregnancy, except that she's not pregnant. Okay, she does not have, there's no baby growing in the fetus, there's no baby growing in the womb, rather. Okay, so, and what usually happens is that, well, it's more of a psychological thing. Okay, and it tends to happen in women that, they've been waiting to conceive for a very long time. They are really, really under pressure or desperate to conceive. Okay, or people that are desirous, or people that have had a lot of miscarriages. Okay, and so what happens basically is that something just signals the brain, because of all the hormones and everything, signals the brain that you are pregnant. So the brain just signals again, you're okay, certain chemicals to say, oh, you are pregnant, and certain hormones are released, estrogen and progesterone, that even makes you feel pregnant, have the pregnancy symptoms of nausea, vomiting, actually having your tummy swelling, okay, all right, and having the increase in breast size and all. The only thing is that the woman is not pregnant. So it's more of a psychological disorder, all right, and then usually it's how we manage it is usually psychotherapy, where you have to just counsel the woman and discuss with the woman that she's not pregnant, okay, and that everything is just more of her mind playing tricks on her, okay, and we've seen cases like that the woman will tell you, oh, she's pregnant, I feel pregnant, I've not seen my period, and then because of all the hormones, the brain signaling and everything, she actually will miss her period, and she'll say, oh, so what's making me miss my period? Why is my tummy swelling? Why am I feeling motivated? Why am I feeling tired? Just like the pregnant woman. So except that the baby is not in the womb. Yes, when you do the scan, there's nothing.
So thank you, Dr. J. So you just buttress the fact that the brain can play a trick on a woman that is under pressure for conceiving. So the woman feels everything around pregnancy, but the baby is not there. And for such women, you advise that they should see a psychologist to help them, with the mental ability to cope with the fact that there is no pregnancy. It's just that that it's false pregnancy. So they have all the symptoms. The period is not coming. They feel that the tummy is swelling, and sometimes you could actually see that the tummy is the tummy is swelling, but there is no baby. So for such people, they will need a psychological intervention to help them to come to the realization that there is no pregnancy. Okay, so someone is asking us that if a woman's tubes are blocked, experiencing noise somewhere. Okay, oh, we're experiencing noise somewhere. I don't know where the noise is from. Dr. J, can you, okay, if a woman tubes are blocked, can she still get pregnant? And if no, can the tubes be opened? I know you talked about some of the factors that might prevent a woman from getting pregnant. One of the factors is if the tubes are blocked. Can blocked tubes be opened?
When the tubes are blocked, then the tubes, she would need, she cannot get pregnant. If the tubes are truly blocked, she cannot get pregnant naturally, but she can get pregnant. Because when you have blocked tubes, that is one of the indications to do IVF, what we call in vitro fertilization, okay, because we are bypassing the tubes. When the tubes are blocked, one of the treatment options is IVF, okay? That is the way, if they are truly blocked. Now, I know that some people still do what we call hydrotubation, saying that they want to flush the tubes and everything. But if they are truly blocked, those kind of interventions will not work. Okay, we used to do it in the past, okay, but they did not give us very great results. Another thing, people sometimes offer surgeries, okay, to try to cut off the blocked area of the tubes and then try to join the tubes together. But the challenge with that is that sometimes with the healing process taking place after the surgery, you will have scar tissue and the result is not so fantastic. However, it depends on the area of the tube that was blocked, okay? Some, if it's just that, oh, the tube was kinked as a result of some very, very filmy scars, then tubal surgery can take care of that. But the mainstay right now in the 21st century is to recommend IVF for such women. So yes, she can conceive. No, she cannot conceive naturally if the tubes are truly blocked. But sometimes when a woman goes for HSG, okay, because HSG can be a bit uncomfortable and all, what happens is that we have what we call tubal spasm. So the tubes kind of contract, okay, and when the person reading the HSG is reading it, she may read it as blocked tubes, okay? And when this happens, okay, and the woman says, oh, blocked tubes, and somewhere along the line, she gets pregnant. She say, oh, I got pregnant. They said my tubes are blocked. It could just have been that they were not truly blocked. What happened was she had a contraction. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Dr. J. So if the tubes are blocked, a woman might not be able to get pregnant naturally. It means that that woman could be assisted to get pregnant but through IVF, and except if the tubes are not totally blocked, or maybe the tubes just contracted at the time the person was told the tubes were blocked, the person can still get pregnant.
Just to add again, sometimes the HSG can be therapeutic because sometimes the blockage might just be maybe mucus or something just blocking it. So when you do the HSG, it just flushes whatever filmy thing that was there, and then some people after that HSG you just get pregnant on their
but
it was probably not truly blocked as a result of where you have the scarring and fibrosis.
Okay. So Dr. J, I also want to ask, you already said age is a factor in getting pregnant in conception. Does weight have any impact on getting pregnant? Does weight?
Oh,
yes, the size.
Yes. Weight does have an impact, okay? Of course, it can be arguable because in our environment, you have quite a number of people that are overweight, okay? But we know that weight can have an impact. For instance, with people with polycystic ovarian syndrome, which you call PCOS or PCOS, okay, we know that when they lose that weight, okay, they start ovulating. Okay, so weight can actually have an impact, whether you are overweight or underweight. Excessive weight loss too is not good because that can affect ovulation, affect all the hormonal milieu, cause hormonal imbalance, and affect. I mean, when a woman is underweight, it's not good. When she's overweight too, that can affect ovulation, and that one is also not good. Apart from that, even if she gets pregnant, she's also at risk of having certain challenges.
We just lost you. We lost you.
Like gestational diabetes, okay, having diabetes for the first time in pregnancy, okay, the risk of, can you hear me? Can you hear me now?
We lost you from after you
Hello,
said
can
that
you hear me now?
weight. Yes, we can.
Hello.
Hello, we can hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
So what I'm talking about is that, all right, so being underweight or being, okay, so being underweight or being overweight can affect conception. So both not good. Okay, and even if a woman conceives, it can make them prone to certain things when they get pregnant. Okay, being overweight for
being
instance,
overweight
can predispose to having gestational diabetes. That means having diabetes for the first time in pregnancy. Being overweight can lead to what we call fetal macrosomia, where the baby is very, very big. Underweight can pose a challenge, yes.
Okay.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, Dr. J. So weight can be a factor, can affect conception. Hello, we can hear you. Hello, Dr. J. We can hear you. Weight can be a factor when someone is underweight or overweight.
Right. Yes,
it can affect pregnancy.
Conception. Whether being yes, I can hear you. Whether being over. Okay.
Okay, so being overweight can predispose a woman when she has the baby to gestational diabetes. When you're overweight, it can affect the size of the baby when the baby eventually comes out. So being overweight can be detrimental. And she also said that for people that have PCOS, that's polycystic ovarian syndrome, being overweight can affect ovulation. And as we found out that when these people lose weight, they are able to now their ovulation resumes, so they are able to get pregnant. So being overweight can actually, and being underweight too, is not good enough for pregnancy. I'm trying to also look at other questions that I've not answered there. Dr. J, we have just two questions now. Does weather condition or environmental condition affect both men and women? I know that we always say that during the rainy season there will be more babies. I guess there will be more babies because people are more relaxed. People are, I think it's psychological when we look at environmental conditions. Of course, when you are so much under stress and you have so much pressure, conception can be very stressful. But when the environment that you've been able to create, the kind of environment that can allow conception, that also allows babies to come without so much hurdle. So your weather condition is just theoretical. If you're cool, if the environment is peaceful, if you're not as stressed as every other person, it is easier to bring forth. Dr. J, let me ask our last question. My last question is this. We've already talked about unknown fertility or unexplained fertility. You said if we probe further, one can still explain the infertility. where is the place of when after you've probed further and there is no infertility? You know, in a country like ours, we always say that everything is about God. Can we also say that at a level in pregnancy or in conception, there is a God factor? When you look at you're already a scientist, apart from the fact that you might be a Christian, you're also a scientist going through all the science of pregnancy, of conception, when there is really nothing wrong with a couple and they've passed all the probing, they've passed all the tests, both basic and advanced tests and all that. Is there a God factor that can help explain the unexplained infertility? Dr. J, did you hear me?
Oh yes, definitely there's a God factor. Yes, I did. So do you want me to answer the weather question and then the God factor?
Yes.
Okay, so the weather question, well, people will say under what's it called, cold weather. I just think the explanation may be logical. When it's cold, everybody is cold and maybe more relaxed. So I guess frequency of sex is higher at that time, and so maybe you probably have a lot of pregnancies during the rainy season because couples meet more. Maybe it's just a postulation. The only other thing is that again, with all these radiations we carry about, phones, laptops, we really don't know the effects of all these things on the organs, especially for the males. Okay, when you put your phones in your pockets, remember that when we were growing up, we were not exposed to all these cell phones on time. Okay, where most of us had access to cell phones when we were in our 20s. Okay, so we don't know the damaging effect we'll have when people from the age of 2, they're already playing with phones, they put it on their laps, they're playing with tablets, they put it on their laps. We never can tell, okay, with all this radiation going on, okay? But we know that people working in plastic industries, certain things, lead, asbestos, mercury, all these things may have negative effects on sperm production. So environmental factors, yes, very, very key in fertility. So we also want to watch the kind of environment we're in, especially these days of all these radiations, your tablets, we don't know the long-term effects yet. Yes, there is a God factor. Can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can.
Yes, there's definitely a God factor. All right, so what happened last year, for instance, the pandemic, the lockdown, I had a handful of people that have even tried IVF before and it didn't work, getting pregnant on their own. So there is a God factor, and even for me, when they called me, I'm like, wow, how did this happen? You know, and you look at the patient's history, someone that has done IVF 2 times, 3 times, that way, can someone else carry the pregnancy for you, and then wham, she gets pregnant. I had like 2 patients. I had somebody that conceived, her first child was through IVF. The second one, she tried IVF a couple of times, like 2 times, it just didn't work. And then all of a sudden she got pregnant. So I had a number of patients that called me by December. They would also, doctor, you know what, blah, blah, blah. I had a particular patient that even tried IVF for 6 years infertility, did IVF, it did not work. And then after the failed IVF cycle, a month after she had her first baby, and then 2 years after she had her second baby. And this is somebody that had a 6-year delay. So sometimes even we as doctors, we do not have all the answers. And I gladly tell my patients, whether you do the IVF is not even 100%, God is the one that gives conception. So whether it's naturally, whether it's IVF, we still look up to God to grant us success in whatever we do. So yes, there is a God factor.
Thank you very much, Dr. J. Thank you for your sessions with us. We want to appreciate you. We want to appreciate all our listeners. We want to appreciate everyone that's participated in this webinar. It's an eye opener to the details. The fact that of course there's a God factor in getting pregnant, and when everything has failed, God can still come true for everyone. in spite of whatever you might be going through. There is also a God factor in the fact that he has empowered some people to take care of us. Doctors are there, and there are so many things technology is also doing to ensure that people get pregnant, even to the basic of the selection of sex, scientifically selection of sex. So there are so many things that can be done. We've also been educated today that we should be careful of what we eat. Women should be careful of the cream and the body, the beauty ranges they use, especially when it contains some hormones. We should be careful of what we eat and how we live our lives. The environmental factors, where you walk, what you do, also could affect the production of sperm and affect the woman eventually. We've also been educated on the fact that when we go through those tests and the basic tests, we could probe further, especially when the babies are not coming and the doctor says you're okay. We could probe further, and when we probe further, there are so many other tests that can be done to know if the unexplained infertility can be explained. Dr. J has told us that age might not be on a woman's side forever, and so from the age of 35, the probability for a woman getting pregnant also become it reduces, and of course for men have the whole of their lifetime to produce babies, but she has also given us an option. There's fertility preservation. Technology has made it possible for people to preserve their eggs, should in case you feel that or preserve their sperms if one has to go through some therapy that might destroy those things or affect the sperm and the egg, or should in case you feel that you don't have time on your side and you really want to have your own baby in future, you can actually preserve your egg and you can preserve the sperm. We are aware that couples should not be so scared until after a year. So within a year, she actually said within the first month, 20% of people will get pregnant. In the next 3 months, about 50% people will get pregnant. That is until at the end of 1 year, the 8% that are not able to get pregnant are the ones that should seek help. But she made mention of the fact that there are some people that you need to seek help. You shouldn't wait till a year, especially when you know that you have irregular ovulation, especially if the man knows that he was treated for one disease or the other in time past, and she also cautioned women that when you have STDs and the STDs are not treated because you do not even have symptoms, this can have some impact on conception in the future. Age can affect, weight can affect the probability of getting pregnant. She has also told us that both primary infertility and secondary infertility are caused basically by so many things, from erectile dysfunction, from lack of ovulation, from undescended testes and sperm product, the quality of the sperm that was produced, from fallopian tube that is blocked. All of this can affect a woman from getting pregnant or affect a couple from having their babies. And so their help, we could seek help. God has given the wisdom to gynecologists and obstetricians to help us for this, and so we can seek help whenever, if we are in this, if we fall into this category. And we can also tell people, apart from the God factor, God has created men and women to help us. She also told us about the fact that we should avoid stress. I like one of those things that you told us, that for men that sit in one place for a long time, they should try to move about, because the scrotal sac needs some lower temperature. And if you sit in one place for a long time, the temperature can affect us. There are no scientific proof on the use of devices and the impact on sperm production and all that now, but she also saying that we should cautiously look at our environment. And for people that love to take medication, for a woman trying to get pregnant, you should be careful of some pain relievers that you use. You should be careful of alcohol. You should be careful of smoking. And for men as well, antidepressants and some drugs for ulcer could actually affect conception for both men and women, there's some antibiotics too that could affect conception. So it's very important for us to have an engagement with our medical professionals whenever we meet them and they are trying to recommend medications to us, to tell us the state, tell them the state that we are in and what is expected. Pseudo pregnancy, she said that when someone has pseudo pregnancy, the person has all the symptoms of pregnancy, the menstrual cycle is not flowing, the tummy is looking big, and the person is having symptoms. Such people might be people going through some pressure, and all they need to do is to seek a psychologist to help them with the mental capacity to cope with the infertility issues they are going through. So don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I'm going to go back and listen to this because she made mention of some things that I need to go and learn again. I'm going to go back. So if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channels, please subscribe to our YouTube channels. This is live. It's also going to be on our YouTube channel. You can still watch and share to friends and family that you feel that this knowledge can help them. We're still going to be meeting every second Saturday of the month, but from next month, we're going to be meeting in the evenings because people have reached out to us that for people watching outside Nigeria, you know, this is just 10 a.m. This is 11:30 Nigeria, but some people that is actually in the middle of the night, and so they've asked us to move this to the evenings, like 5 p.m., so that they also can be a part of this. So next month we're going to be having this in the evening. By the second Saturday of May, we're going to be having it. So block your calendar. We're going to be having exciting topics. We're going to be having exciting topics on our webinar. And next, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but if you've subscribed to our channels and if you follow us on our social media pages, wellness_care, you can get this information firsthand. So I'll also let you know that if you need Dr. Ogunro's intervention, if you need to see her, you'll need to go to our social media pages and privately send a direct message to her. She's going to pick it up. This is what she loves to do. She has a fertility blog that she talks to people all the time to educate them. So you can also follow her. When you follow her, you can get insight into fertility issues. She's also a part of the group Ask the Pediatrician. So she does not just take care of the pregnant woman, she also makes sure that the babies, when they come, are well taken care of. So you can follow Dr. Jumoke Oguro to also help you get this done. If you are not on Wellness HMO plan, this is the time to contact us to buy your Wellness HMO plan, because when you're on Wellness, you are sure that your total well-being is taken care of. I want to say thank you to Mr. Joshua interpreting for us, and Mr. Kingsley and Mr. Yemisi. You guys are the best. Thank you for giving the opportunity to this set of people with special abilities to also be a part of this. We're going to be doing so much more with them, because they told me that, do I know what it takes for someone with these challenges to see a doctor? And do I know how it feels when people do seminars and do webinars and no one is interpreting for them, no one is transcribing for them to read? We are happy to be a part of this. We're happy to include you in our webinars, and we're going to be also reaching out physically to see how Wellness as an organization can support people living with special abilities. On this note, I want to say thank you for everyone for staying through. Thank you for watching this webinar. Thank you for being a part of this health education. This is how we want to make sure that the total well-being of the people are also taken care of. For my back row hand, I want to say thank you for you guys. You guys are the best. Thank you for making sure this is successful. On this note, I want to say bye. See you next month.